Hey guys, Yamato Mask here for another chapter review slash discussion. We're at chapter 1064, and it's Egghead's Research Stratum. Jumping right in, we see the cover page, and there's no way we can skip over this cover page this week. So a lot of stuff that we were hinting at has been confirmed, like this is the first time we have had actual confirmation of Kuzan being a part of the Blackbeard Pirates. And just like Oda has been hinting the last few chapters, they also kidnapped Pudding. This cover page also marks another first. This is the first time we've seen a character in the cover page and also in the same manga chapter. So as I said in the last review, Blackbeard is in endgame, man. Like, he's collecting all the pieces, he's ready. So the first half of this chapter we get more Law versus Blackbeard. And Law wastes no time in busting out his awakening techniques. First up we see the R room, which seems to create some kind of room around someone or something other than Law himself. And I'm not quite sure how it works, like, he cut Stronger with it, so is Stronger now dead? Leave your thoughts in the comments, guys. So Blackbeard comments that no one told him he could do this with his powers, which implies that Blackbeard has been keeping tabs on everyone's powers, which is something that you'd expect Blackbeard to do. It's Blackbeard. So Blackbeard, being typical Blackbeard, charges headfirst into everything. He's pretty similar to Luffy in that regard, actually. And then Law breaks out the second technique, the K room, and hits him with the Shock Veil, which was very impressive, I'm not gonna lie. So Blackbeard takes a lot of damage, but of course he's not out. This is how all of Blackbeard's fights go. I'm pretty sure way back when he mentions that this is a consequence of his Devil Fruit, since it absorbs everything, he also absorbs more damage than other Logia. So while these two are squaring off, their crews are also squaring off and providing support. And guys, is it me or is Law's crew doing surprisingly well? They definitely exceeded my expectations. They also seem to be very teamwork oriented. So we see John Bart being a tank and protecting his captain. We see Vice Captain Beppo taking command of the ship underwater, giving out orders to Shachi and Penguin, who are pretty good in the ocean. Shachi even turns into a Pokemon and shoots a Hydro Cannon. So after Blackbeard gets his ass handed to him, Van Augur steps in and asks if they should go back to the ship. And he's like, no, we finish what we start. So respect, Blackbeard. Law and Blackbeard have a quick exchange about Devil Fruits, and both sides raise some pretty good points. Law's crew is exclusively, well almost exclusively, non-fruit users, while Blackbeard's crew is the opposite. Almost everyone eats a fruit. So Law and his crew have a philosophy of fighting in the sea, hence they can't have Devil Fruit users. They prefer sea warfare. Blackbeard argues that the trade-off is well worth it. What do you think, guys? Which one did you pick? So we cut briefly on board Blackbeard's ship and we see Pudding. Or this might be her alter ego, I'm not sure, but she's taken all the trash talk and given some back. And she's not even sure if Big Mom is alive, but she's pretty sure she'll rescue her if she is. Also, we see her three eyes open, but this wouldn't be the first time that we've seen it, so this is no indication that she has awakened her third eye. Back outside, Law and Blackbeard are still clashing, but then Blackbeard drops the Kurozu, aka the Black Vortex, and that's one of my favorite techniques in the entire series. It will be interesting to see someone like Law who's overly dependent on his Devil Fruit, how he handles a situation like this. Quick shot over to Akaino being frustrated again. This guy clearly wasn't prepared to be Fleet Admiral. So back on Egghead, the Pacifistas stopped attacking everyone because Bonnie changed them to old people and kids. Now an interesting note about this version of Luffy. Oda actually drew this before in an SBS, and it's a bad future for Luffy when he's like that. In the good future where he becomes Pirate King and you see him, he lives a long and happy life, he looks closer to what Garp looks like nowadays. So that's something interesting you can look up on your own. Kid Jinbei looks cool as hell, while old Chopper looks like he's on his last legs, literally. So Jinbei proceeds to tell us about how the world at large views Kuma, like that's the version of the story that he knows. So we learned that he was a tyrant who was deposed by his people and forced to become a pirate. Then he was captured by the Navy, and then they found out about his revolutionary history. And eventually Vegapunk took an interest in him because of his physical body and his prowess. And this is pretty much how he became the model for the Pacifista. Then Bonnie gives us her version of the story, which might be the true version. She says he was no tyrant, and there's no way he would submit to the government because he hates them. So there must have been some trickery or some blackmailing or something. And while she's ranting, what do we get? She has a lightsaber. Star Wars incoming. Bonnie further reveals that Kuma is part of a special race. Now I might be mistaken, but I think we still have one race yet to be revealed. Or it could be that he's actually a Lunarian like King. We assume that they used the DNA from King for the Lunarian part of the Seraphim, but what if it's Kuma? I mean, he has the dark skin. But jumping over to the last of the Straw Hats, they're on their way up to the main portion of Egghead Island, and they hitch a ride on Lilith's robot that has anti-gravity unit and jet propulsion. So Vegapunk just went from flintlock pistols all the way to future tech, man. So we passed the lower level that Luffy and company are on, and we're headed to the research stratum. We see this big Saturn looking globe with an egg and it punk records on it. It all looks really cool. So we get there and Nami and Usopp see an escalator for the first time. Well, all of them, to be fair. I'm sure if we didn't have knowledge of escalators, it would be pretty fascinating to us as well. So cut them some slack, guys. So the Straw Hats get their future tech gear. And Oda, what are you doing? If you think Nami is bad, Robin is wearing a bikini. And I love it. Sanji goes tropical like Jinbei. And of course Frankie's happy to be told he's a pervert. Then on the last panel, we get a very ominous conversation. We see Shaka predicting his death, but who is he talking to? Wait, it's the man with even less screen time than Shanks, Monkey D. Dragon. And that's the chapter. Now, these two are talking as if they're old friends, so do they have some kind of connection that we're gonna explore soon? Oh, I forgot to mention that Zoro and Brookah are staying on the ship. Now we're pretty used to seeing Zoro alone in arcs, like he always gets lost or he's behind or something. But I think it'll be refreshing to see him paired up with someone, especially since it's the other swordsmen on the crew. So in this case, they might be the first to join the action, like once CP0 gets there. Now, with the first half of the chapter, I'm gonna double down on what I said last time, and I think Oda is just giving Law's crew some time to shine before, like, a crushing defeat. And as I said before, normally when Blackbeard uses the Black Vortex, like, that's a game changer. So hopefully we get some more of this fight next chapter or within the coming chapters. We did get a lot of story progression this chapter, although the pacing in the first half especially could be a little bit better. We also get our little backstory about Kuma. But overall, another banger chapter by Oda, man. Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Drop a like. If you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe. It really helps me out. And I'll catch you guys in the next review.